What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Even with the news of Black Myth Wukong, I guess Final Fantasy XVI has found itself also in some sort of a spotlight. In my opinion, I think this is a good thing. Playing games everywhere that you possibly can as somebody who may be a fan of a game or who's looking forward of this piece of entertainment, to me, is always a welcome addition every single time. I've been advocating and talking about how Square Enix needed to start rethinking their exclusivity, and I think, in my opinion, from what we're weighing, that they probably are. You could tell that they were not necessarily too satisfied with a lot of their dealings this year, and their stock prices and, valuation kind of took a slight dent. However, it seems to me that they're more than likely going to be taking an approach where PC is going to be a significant portion of their sales. The one thing that's really helping me lean, though, to the fact that perhaps they may not necessarily be too keen on other platforms is because if they can seal deals with PlayStation, it kind of helps them with the core in terms of, recouping their costs, and then everything else is just icing on top of the cake. However, it seems like them not being able to lean on their other titles brought them to the place where now they've basically, in my opinion, shadow dropped. This just seems like it came out of nowhere. Yes, there were conversations about it, but the last time we heard about this whole thing, it was the director of the game that was actually talking in terms of him, allowing for players to have some time to play the Elden Ring DLC. It was a tongue-in-cheek style conversation. So getting to play the demo on PC was quite interesting. I mean, from a benchmark perspective, this is something that's quite common with some Japanese publishers or developers. They'll lock their game to 60 FPS on PC. To me, that's always fine. I've not necessarily been too keen on playing anything more than 60 FPS, even though I'm an enthusiast in a sense, but I don't play a lot of the Twitch-based games where you're trying to, farm extra frames because you need to be able to, nab somebody with a sniper shot across the map or something like that. That's not really a big deal. To me, I'm more interested in the way these businesses interact with publishing and developing their games. So I think Square Enix going forward will probably start minimizing how much they're leaving their games on exclusive platforms because they are a third-party publisher. Their goal is to come in here and make money. Now, the challenge here, though, is the brand, that is the Final Fantasy brand, may have taken some kind of a hit on Xbox. Now, the Final Fantasy XIV game, which was kept away from Xbox for the longest time, even though that game's kind of a live service game, which to me just always seemed asinine. I think they were just so short-sighted, or whoever the CEO was at the time did not necessarily have a vision as to their brand possibly growing. I think now it's evident that if you leave a consumer base away from your brand, what's going to happen is eventually you're going to leave them in the dust. And for the most part, a lot of people would lose interest. Seeing how you have competitors in the market, you have Elden Ring, you have a game coming from a studio that is, not as big as any of your studios, or with the publisher who's, them themselves and probably has been affiliated with other bigger publishers coming with Wukong. And then you have other titles that are still going to continue to drop as time goes on that continues to take advantage of people's, attention across the board. I mean, what's really interesting is as I continue to refresh Twitter, I don't see this game on the trending list as in regard to its PC release. Now, it could be that it has actually been on the trending list and, at the end of the day, it's probably cycled off. But again, you see what's going on. You can't build upon the, marketing. You can't really build upon the brand name and the brand push that you can get, especially when you leave that particular item on your, Achilles heel, which is basically the one platform that you're making it an exclusive to. So at the end of the day, this is quite nice to see. It's not a game that I'll probably play immediately. However, I have to say, in my own experience, I've actually quite been pleased with just playing a little bit of the demo. I had to stop somewhere in the middle. I thought, okay, there's nothing, so bad about this. Final Fantasy is that kind of game where there's a little bit of, slow buildup. This one does have a little bit of a slow buildup. And, having read the reviews, haven't spoken to people about this game and haven't been talking about it for a while, I'm starting to see what they're saying, but it doesn't take away from the quality of the game. Neither does it take away from, the quality so far. I just have to pace it because whenever I get into a game where there's a lot of exposition, I want to get into the gameplay. If I can't get into the gameplay immediately, I have to pace it so I don't go and get bored and get disappointed prematurely. So I want to evaluate the game in, from the perspective of the demo in my own, timing. That way I can just be really meticulous so I can get a good sense of the game. And then possibly later down the road, I'll be happy to, take a look and get the game for myself. But anyways, here we are. We have one more of these games that are now coming from a third-party publisher, haven't been money hatted by Sony, eventually, you know, getting some sense and making their way to another platform. And then possibly we'll be looking at an Xbox release. In my opinion, I think that's probably the direction that Square Enix is looking to start pivoting to, having seen their CEO basically, you know, start shaking hands with Phil Spencer. You know, that was very interesting in a sense. I thought that was more, how do I put it, more symbolic than anything else, that they would actually start to talk about, you know, moving together in that direction in terms of bringing their games to everyone. And so this to me just signaled like, okay, we're more than likely going to be seeing some other things in the works. So those who play on Xbox, hey, you might be getting this game very soon, and you might be getting games from Square Enix in terms of the major section more frequently. Perhaps they can, you know, rebuild their fan base on the Xbox platform and be able to leverage that. Because the thing is, we need more of these, you know, publishers continuing to make these kinds of games to meet their audiences. To segment these games away from audiences is not beneficial financially for them, nor does it incentivize them to keep making these games. If they do not make these games, we're going to see kind of an insurgence of these cheap live service games and not a good blend. So what you want is for them to be able to make the game available for more people so that more people can possibly get their hands on the game. And then that cycle continues where they keep making and creating these games over and over again. If you're against that, I mean, I guess I don't know what to say. Maybe stop playing video games because you don't want other people to play games. I mean, what else can I say in this regard? But this is a third-party publisher. Their goal is to make games and make it available for more people. So we'll see more of this hopefully coming soon. I don't want to bet on anything. However, you can see the way the trend is going. You can see the way things are leaning. And thankfully, PC is now this buffer that kind of makes these companies rethink or at least test out their product to other audiences. And then they can possibly make more you know, decisions down the road. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.